The Carolina Hurricanes split their weekend series against the Ottawa Senators and Anaheim Ducks this weekend. In this episode of Locked On Hurricanes, find out what went right for them against the Senators and what went wrong for them against the Ducks.
You're Locked On Hurricanes, your daily podcast on the Carolina Hurricanes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey there, Caniacs. I'm your host, Jared Ellis, and you're listening to Locked On Hurricanes on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And as always, thank you for making Locked On Hurricanes your first listen of this Monday afternoon. And this episode is once again brought to you by the lovely folks over at FanDuel Sportsbook, official sportsbook of Locked On. Make every moment more. Visit FanDuel.com/Locked On today to get started. And don't forget to follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at LO_Hurricanes and myself on Twitter at JaredEllis_96. And subscribe to the show on YouTube as well. Trying to build that up and can't do it without you. And in this episode, we will be recapping the games against the Senators and Ducks, like I said in the opening. And we will also hear from Seth Jarvis and Antti Raanta following that game against the Senators and Rod Brind'amour following the game against the Ducks. Now, we're just going to hop right on into it, folks. Friday, the Hurricanes got a 4-0 win against the Ottawa Senators. And this was a game that, they're supposed to win. They're supposed to win both these games, but we'll talk about the Ducks here later. And the game against the Senators was a bit of a mixed bag. And yes, I know the final score says 4-0, and it was a 4-0 win. And the first period, for the most part, is pretty typical Hurricanes hockey. Is that first period was one of the best periods that they have played all year long. They played fast. There was a lot of forechecking. That the defense was creating a lot of pressure on the Senators as well, and this was textbook Hurricanes hockey. Like I said, Brent Burns, he's got his 12th of the year in that game. Seth Jarvis, who we'll hear from here in a bit, he got a goal as well. And it was one that for a bit there, we didn't know if it was going to stand because it looked like it may have been goal interference, but it wasn't. And Antti Raanta, who again we'll also hear from, this wasn't a period where he saw a lot of action. If I remember correctly, what was the shot total for that first period? I know it wasn't a lot. He only saw 7 shots in that first period. Second and third period definitely picked up more, but he didn't have to do a whole heck of a lot in that first period. But, when he did, he stepped up to the plate. That top line of Svechnikov, Aho, and Jarvis, that was crazy good line, and they have been absolutely insane as of late. And the Hurricanes dominating 5-on-5 play. And Jesperi Kotkaniemi, he's looking really good. Same with the game against the Ducks as well, of him stepping up in this game against Senators, laying some really, really big hits. But the main concern, with this game was special teams. And obviously with that means power play. And, in that game against the Senators, in that first period, the big thing that I personally took away from that could have been better was that power play. It has to be better. And in that game in total, they went 0 for 2 on the power play with they had the one opportunity sort of late-ish in the first period. And they had another one in the second period, but again, a whole lot of nothing on the power plays. And getting into the second period, it was pretty much the opposite of the first period. Antti Raanta really kept them in that period. They were very sloppy in the second period. It was not a pretty period at all. They're just giving Ottawa chance after chance. They're taking a lot of penalties, and really the good things with that second period was, again, Auntie Ronta keeping it in, keeping the team in the game, and the penalty kill. Penalty kill was having to do work. In that second period alone, Carolina took 3 penalties, 35 seconds into the period, one as well. And then you had one about 3.5 minutes in, then another one almost 9 minutes into the period. And we've seen that before, of just all of a sudden they just start taking penalty after penalty after penalty after penalty. And it's just, what the heck is going on? And a lot of these penalties, they were just like, what the heck is going on? And it was very frustrating, and they were lucky to come out still with the lead. They came out of the second period, neither team scored. Obviously, the way the Hurricanes play, they weren't going to score. But yeah, they were really lucky to keep it that way. And that's a testament to the penalty kill, the Hurricanes, blue liners, and just their defense in general, and Auntie Rata, because the offense was doing absolutely nothing. And third period rolled around. It was definitely better. They definitely realized, like, oh crap, we're screwing up, and Ottawa's starting to get some momentum. And the Hurricanes, they fought back in that third period, which was really, really good. And they're better with the penalties. They only took 1 in the third period, which is good, because with the way they were taking and the momentum Ottawa was getting, had they had a repeat of that second period, Ottawa was totally scoring a power play goal. 100%. And then we also did see, the Hurricanes rack up their third and fourth goals, with Marty Natchez and Brady Shea. Again, obviously, the Hurricanes, Auntie Ranta got his third shutout of the year, and that's a 14-game point streak for Auntie Ranta, which is crazy to think about. When he is playing awesome. He is now 15-2-3 on the season. He's having a heck of a year. And a fun stat is, following that game against the Senators, I'd have to look and see. I don't know what it's like now, but following that game against the Senators, the top 2 lines had 15 goals for and 0 goals against. That's just how dominant those top 2 lines have been for that past week. I'm not. I think it's. I don't think they'll. I don't think that those top 2 lines allowed either any of the goals last night against Anaheim, but I'm not 100% sure. We'd have to go and look. But yeah, the top 2 lines have been great. And we'll get into the Anaheim game in a bit, but the team is rolling, and the 5-on-5 play is this team's bread and butter, and they're absolutely killing it when it comes to 5-on-5 play. And they are extremely dangerous. And you look at Auntie Ranta in this game tonight of, I think, he kind of proved himself, like, hey, it's going to be me, not Piotr, being the backup here to Freddie, for the remainder of the season, because, trade deadline's right around the corner. And I think that, maybe some folks, I had seen some chatter about potentially, trading, a goalie, and, trading Ronta, bringing Piotr up. And I think this was definitely a performance where, like, no, it's not going to happen. At least not this year. Auntie Ranta, he's still going to be that number 2 guy. And he performed like it. He kept this team in the game when the skaters weren't doing it. He really bailed them out, which is great. And I'm really pleased with what we saw from him. We're talking about him a lot right now. Let's hear what Antti Raanta had to say following that shutout against the Ottawa Senators.
2 points. So, obviously it was nice to have a couple of my friends also in the stands today. So, they've been nervous because they've been living in my house, so they try to stay away from me in the game days. But obviously it was nice to get a good win for them also.
5 wins in a row. This team loves to put together some win streaks. How do you guys feel going down the stretch of the season?
Yeah, obviously, when we got back from the bye week, I think the first game wasn't what we wanted, and after that we've been kind of just trying to stick with our game, and it's been working pretty well. So it's nice to get back at tomorrow and keep it going, and obviously it's been nice to be at home a little bit and get some games here. So we try to get those streaks going at home, especially.
As a goaltender, do you ever start thinking about the shutout at any point in the game? You just try to push that as far back in your mind as you can.
Well, obviously you kind of see the score there, so when it's 2-0, you really don't want to get them let any goals in, because then it's going to be getting even tighter. So obviously last couple of minutes probably you start yelling a little bit more to the guys to take the guys out and like that. But you still try to focus on the obviously the next shot, and hope that the clock runs out really quickly.
How about the penalty killing tonight, especially on the problem?
Oh, it was huge. Obviously, we knew that they have skillful guys there. Their power play is really good, and they move the puck really well. So I think guys were doing amazing job there. Taking those backdoor passes away, and when they had the shot, I was able to see it. So and obviously clearing the rebound. So yeah, that's.
So you're hearing Antti Raanta talk about that game against the Senators, and like I said, he really bailed this team out, and you heard him. He's yelling at the guys, and at the end of the day, the Hurricanes came through, got that win, which was really big for them. Of course, continuing to, well, at the time, extend their lead in the Metro, and I feel that this team, they're dangerous, and we'll talk about more of where they're stacking up in the Metro at the end of the episode when we talk about Metro Monday and all the teams, what's going on in the division. But they're a dangerous team, and Antti Raanta, he really bailed them out, and Seth Jarvis again stepping up in that game, netting himself a goal as well. And this is what Seth Jarvis had to say following that game against the Senators as well.
Someone's taking your head off.
Oh, dude, I was so scared to look up. I didn't know what was going on. I was in the net. I knew the play was still going on, so I was like, I'm not gonna show face. And I saw in the replay it was probably like a good couple inches above my head. So thankfully, because he said he didn't even look up, so he didn't even know I was in the net.
Did you feel like did you kind of
No.
like a bullet going?
Not at all. No, I was just scared. I thought they were gonna call it off, so I wasn't really celebrating. But I'm just happy it counted.
Was there any kind of explanation on the ice about, obviously you get pulled down and kind of fall in? Did the refs say, did you overhear anything about why they let that go? And then obviously they don't challenge, so.
No one talks to me. I have no idea why I didn't count. I just went with the punches, and I was just happy it counted.
This team is on fire whenever you score a goal. I mean, how does that feel? Does it feel like the world is kind of revolving around you?
Not at all. It's just, that's a cool stat, I guess, but yeah, it's funny. I got to score more often so we can hopefully win more games.
How's the momentum for you? I know you said a couple games ago, like, maybe this year hasn't gone the way you want it to, but now kind of getting going, finishing the chances you're getting and things like that.
Yeah, it's fun. It's nice. Like, even on the goal, I put one on net, and sometimes, probably before, I probably kicked it the other way, but it kicked right back to me, and I was able to score the rebound. So, I mean, just little things like that worked well for me. But overall, I think just my game as a whole, and forechecking wise especially, has really upped it. I think that's what's resulting in me scoring.
How about this guy back here?
Which goal? He was elite. He was really good. He made a few huge saves for us. He was massive on the PK. I mean, our whole second period felt like there was just penalties the whole period. So it was huge for him to come up big and keep us with the lead.
All right, thanks, Jarvie.
Thanks, Jarvie.
Yeah, so again, he's echoing same thing I've already said with Antti Raanta of how he kept this team in the game. And one thing with Seth Jarvis, talking about his goal, and it wasn't one that got overturned for goalie interference. No one knows what goalie interference is at this point, because one game it gets called, the other game it doesn't. Because I 100% thought that goal was going to get turned away, but it didn't. And it is what it is. He's hiding behind Cam Talbot, but I really, that game was, again, it was a mixed bag. First period, some of the best hockey we've seen from him. Second period was rough. It was rough. And again, the big thing for this game that I said at the top of talking about this game was that the power play needs to be better. Yeah, that was my main criticism, was with the first period, was the power play. It hasn't been there this year at all. It'll have glimmers, but overall it just hasn't been there. And it wasn't there against Anaheim either. And now we're gonna start talking about that game against Anaheim last night, and we will do that right after this quick break, folks. Now, folks, yeah, I'm working hard at getting myself healthier and being better, and a great way to do that is with Athletic Greens. Athletic Greens is lifestyle friendly, whether you eat keto, paleo, vegan, dairy free, or gluten free. It contains less than 1 gram of sugar with no GMOs, no nasty chemicals, or artificial anything, while still tasting good. And it supports better sleep quality, recovery, supports mental clarity and alertness. It's the one thing with the best things. Athletic Greens uses the best of the best products based on the latest science with constant product iterations and third-party testing. You got to be alert and ready to go. If you're a hockey player, you got to be on your A game. You got to know what's going on around you. And something else that's really important is a multivitamin. Tons of people take some kind of multivitamin, and it's important to choose one with high quality ingredients that your body will actually absorb. And AG1 is a small micro habit with big, big benefits. It's the one thing that you can do every single day to take great care of yourself. And best of all, your subscription comes with a year's supply of vitamin D, which is really, really important to add in to these winter months when we're not getting as much sunlight. We're all seeing it whenever we're seeing each other at games or online. We're all looking a little pale. We're not inside. Or well, we are inside. We're not outside. And you got to be getting that sunlight. And right now, not the best time to do it. So make sure you're getting that vitamin D. And right now, Athletic Greens is going to help you reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just one scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. And to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1 year supply of immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/NHL network. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/NHL network to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Now, it's time to segue into this game against Anaheim, because this is where things got a little weird this weekend. The Hurricanes, they lost this game 3-2. But this was a game they should have freaking won this game, man. The final shot total was the Ducks 16, the Hurricanes 53. What the heck, man? Like, what? I mean, that's a credit to John Gibson. He worked his freaking butt off for the Ducks in that game, made over 50 saves. And that was, he was the reason the Ducks won that game 110%. Because the Hurricanes, again, 53 shots. And yeah, it was very frustrating for that. Yeah, it was for a long time. It was goaltender battle. Yeah, going back and forth between Gibson and Anderson. You remember these guys won the Jennings Trophy together, I think like 2015, 2016 season, I believe it was. But the Hurricanes, they look good in the first period, and you wouldn't have been able to tell they're coming off of a back-to-back. They didn't look gassed or anything like we've seen in the past with this team, with other teams. And you wouldn't have known because they were really controlling possession. They were creating shots and creating good chances, but John Gibson, he was just a brick wall for the Ducks in that game. And the second period is where it kind of felt like, for the longest time in that period, it was still nothing. But towards the end of the period, especially around that Klinberg goal, it was John Klinberg. But I got the goal scorers confused. But it kind of felt like right around then was when the momentum was starting to shift for the Ducks. And they took that lead into the second period, or into the third period, excuse me. And they were up 2-0 at that point, where it doesn't happen to the Hurricanes too often with that. And they ended up Troy Terry. Oh god, no, crap! It was Silverberg getting that second goal for them, and then we get into the third period, and it just felt like the Hurricane, they were fighting back, but it just felt like Anaheim, they were they just had all of this momentum because of John Gibson, and the team, they were just saying like, we got this. And we've seen that before in games where it feels like you come second period, even before that final horn sounds, like this team has the momentum. This goalie right now is hot, and this team is rallying behind them big time, and they're not going to lose. And this felt like one of those times where like Anaheim wasn't going to lose this game, especially getting into that third period. They were not going to lose. They were rallying behind their goalie. We had Spear score, like, what was it? 13 seconds after the Ducks went up. After the Ducks went up with their second goal, I believe it was. We're going to double check on that. But he's fighting back. And like I said, with the Ottawa game, Spear's stepping up big, laying big hits in that game. And then in this one, the him, as soon as Silverberg scored in the third period, it's about little over 4 minutes into the third. He 13 seconds later goes down and scores. I don't even think Wade Minter finished the announcement for it, but that was big, and I'm liking that he's stepping up and stepping to the challenge. Like Seth Jarvis, it feels like he's finally starting to get something going. At this point in the season, feels like Jesperi's in the same boat with Jarvis. It feels like, all right, they're starting to get some momentum on their side and get things going. And whether it's again just a good all around game, showing up on the score sheet, whatever, I do really like that, and that's what we need from those guys. They're top 6 guys. That's what we want from them. And so we got, Troy Terry and Jesper Foss ended up scoring within about a minute and a half of each other. And, with this game against the Ducks, like I said, you kind of figured Ducks weren't going to lose. I've said it before. I go back to that game where Detroit shut out the Hurricanes here in Raleigh last year. It was Ned's second game back here, and it was like a 3-0 shutout. I told you guys this story before. Looked at my girlfriend. I think it was in like the second period or whatever. I'm like, Detroit's winning this. You just watch the goalie, and they're just save after save. It was that way with John Gibson that night, and Ducks weren't going to lose that game. He got going, and Ducks weren't losing. It could have gone to overtime. The Hurricanes were creating some shots there at the very end of just peppering them with stuff, but it just wasn't good enough. It could be any goalie. We've seen it with Freddie. We've seen it with Ronta. Heck, we saw it with Ned when he was here. We've seen it with Piotr. We saw it with Peter Mrazek, James Reimer, Curtis McElhinney. I mean, the list just goes on and on. Goalie gets hot. Sometimes you you ain't winning that game. And this was one of those games. And, credit to the Ducks. They were, I kind of wrote this game off as one, like, oh, the Hurricanes are winning this game. But that wasn't the case. Ducks came into the Hurricanes' house and they earned that win. They did. John Gibson, he earned it. He deserves every bit of that first star. And kudos to him. The Hurricanes, like with that Ottawa game, power play. 0 for 4 on the power play, and they're giving up a lot of chances. But it is what it is. The game's in the past now. We're going to hear from Rod Brind'amour here in a second following that game, but power play's got to change. It's something that's seriously got to happen with the power play, because not every time you're not always going to be playing 5-on-5. And so often it is, we can look to a game where a power play goal would have made a difference. Biggest one I've said, I believe it was up in Detroit where it was a 1-0 shutout. Brady Shea getting a power play goal. That was a difference maker. And then you look at this game right here. Ottawa probably wouldn't have made a difference. I think the Hurricanes are probably going to win that regardless. But this game, you get one power play goal, it's 3-3. You're going in overtime, you get a point. It's just so many games can be. I mean, and of course, you could look for that kind of thing, but it just feels so obvious with the Hurricanes this season that, they've won a crap ton of games. They've lost like 2 games in God knows how long. They're winning. And I feel that that's why the power play is getting looked over, of just how poor it's been. But especially in these, even in wins, just like it's not there. And they've really got to do something at the trade deadline. And we'll talk about that here in a bit. But first, we are going to hear from Rod Brind'amour and what he had to say following that game against Anaheim.
It's one of those nights where you tip your cap to their goalie, tell your guys good job, and move on.
Yep, pretty much. We'll play that game 10 times, you're going to win 9 of them. And just tonight we got the one that, unfortunate. But, we gave up some chances, but you got to give up some in a game. And they just, their goalie was good.
Is it easier to flush a game where you dominate so well, or is it kind of eat away at guys that think that they can?
No, it's way easier to flush a game that you're terrible in, because then it's just that one's when we should have had. So those are the ones that they're a lot tougher. When you get beat bad, it's easy to just move on.
That's what Jacob was saying after the game, do a bounce here and there. It felt like he had a chance there late.
Yeah, but, I think pretty much everybody had a chance. There was a bunch of great opportunities. We just didn't put it in. So I liked how we kept fighting. It's just we got down 2, and then all of a sudden we're in the game, and then it's just the way it went tonight.
Another indication, one of those games where it doesn't matter what the points are with the teams or records. Every night it's.
Well, anybody can beat anybody in the NHL. We know that. I don't know that we got beat tonight. I felt like it's the way it went. But yeah, they got great players over there. On their goals, they were all, high-end plays. And then 4-on-4 goal, the guy makes a great play and cuts over and, spin around a shot. That's high-end stuff. So, like you said it. We did pretty much everything we had to do. We just didn't find the back end of that enough.
Did you like the power play opportunities you had?
Well, we had, especially had it on a stick in front all alone. So, we got a little hectic there. I think we probably needed to settle down a little more. But, I didn't love that. But our power play actually was good tonight. We had a whole bunch of opportunities in the second period. We just didn't get it in.
And, Rod saying the same thing that I said. They should have won this game. But, it is what it is with that game. It just feels like we've seen that a lot of, not just this year, but in the past, of just how they've had these 50-plus shots on goal game, and they're still coming away with a loss. And again, I'm not going to sit here and act like the world is burning down, the season's over and all that. I've seen a lot of that on social media. It's not the case. This team is still at the top of the Metro. We're going to talk about the standings and where they're at here in a second, but the world's not over. The world's not ending. Season's not ending. They can still make a run, but one thing they're going to have to do, if they are legitimately going to make a run, power play's got to get better. Yeah, they could make a deep run with the power play the way it is, but could they win it? I don't know. I don't know if they could or not, but the power play's got to improve for sure. 110%. It's got to improve, and trade deadline is a place where they can do that. We got trade deadline coming up. God, I think it's at the end of this week, but yeah, it's right around the corner. We're going to see if the Hurricanes make a move. We're going to be talking more about that tomorrow. But now it's time to talk about the Metro Division and just where the Hurricanes are stacking up and where the other teams are stacking up. And we'll talk about that right after this quick break, folks. Now, folks, I'm trying to stick to my New Year's resolution, being a bit healthier. And a great way to do that is with Built Bars, folks. And you guys that have been around for a long time, you know all about Built Bars. And if you're new here, let me tell you about them. And you got to, first off, what makes Built Bars so good? And that is that they're covered in 100% real chocolate. And that is real chocolate. It's not some weird stuff. And they also come in great flavors, with two of my favorites being churro and my all-time favorite being peanut butter brownie. And they got flavors for everyone. So if those don't sound like your speed, go check out their website. I guarantee you're going to find something there. And these Built Bars taste like candy bars. It's hard to believe that it's so healthy. And they only have 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, and a whopping 17 grams of protein. And don't wait around, folks. Go get you a box. We've been talking about Built Bars for years now. So you can order them online at built.com, and now you can go get them at your local Walmart or Sam's Club. You can go to Walmart today and get a 4-bar box of cookies and cream or double chocolate or coconut puffs. And if you're close to Sam's Club, which I am, it is going to be that 13-bar box of brownie batter and churro. You will thank me later. Make sure you're going and picking up your Built Bars. Got to get ready for summer, and Built Bar is a great way to do that, folks. Now, let's start talking about Metro and where the Hurricanes are stacking up. We're going to pull up these Metro Division standings and just look at it, because the Devils, they made moves yesterday. They traded for Timo Meier, and the Devils are a very, very dangerous team. And it feels like now the Metro is a must win for the Hurricanes. It really, really does. As of right now, and we'll also look at the entire playoff picture as well, folks. But the Metro, again, the Hurricanes are sitting at the top. 58 games played, sitting at a 39, 11, and 8 record and 86 points. The Devils right behind them, 59 games played, 39, 15, and 5, 83 points. Then you got New York Rangers, 60 games played, 34, 17, 9, 77 points. New York Islanders in fourth, 63 games played, 31, 25, and 7, 69 very nice points. And then you had the Pittsburgh Penguins at 5 at 59 games played, 29, 21, and 9, 67 points. Washington Capitals at 6, 62 games played, 29, 27, and 6, and 64 points. Philadelphia Flyers in 7th at 61 games played, 23, 28, 10, and 56 points. Then in 8, you have the Columbus Blue Jackets at 60 games played at 19, 35, and 6, and 44 points. Now, the top of this division is absolutely stacked and crazy competitive. I saw something shortly before I started recording. Let me see if I can find it again of just how. Okay, it's gone. But the Hurricanes, the Devils, the Rangers, the Bruins, the Leafs, and the Lightning all have win percentages over 600. Some of those aren't, and I believe it's 2 of those teams aren't going to make it past the second round. They're past the first round, excuse me. Crazy just to think about how heavy the top of the Eastern Conference is. But again, with the Devils, the moves the tear that they've been on this year before trading for Timo, and now that they did, they are all in, and they are really pushing to make a run. Challenge the Hurricanes, challenge the Rangers. And the Hurricanes Rangers have made moves already as well. The Hurricanes have got to make some moves. They really, really do. And I think a lot of us were counting on Timo of Hurricanes making the trade for him, because from what was being asked and some mock trades that were coming up, it's like 100% make that trade any day of the week. But it didn't happen. He's up in New Jersey now. So the Hurricanes got to do something. And because here we like the group we got. Yeah, I like the group we got too. But I'm also looking at what all the teams around us are doing and just how much better the Devils are, how much better the Rangers are. Then you look at the Bruins, you look at the Leafs, you look at the Lightning. These teams are freaking good. And the Hurricanes have got to make a splash at the deadline. And they do, because the top of the Metro is insane. Then you just look over to the wild card with the Islanders and then the Penguins. They're in the 2 wild card spots right now. Buffalo is just a point behind Pittsburgh for that second wild card spot. And then you also kind of got Detroit, Florida, and Washington kind of right behind there, all of them at 64 points. So, it's tight. And the Hurricanes, they got to do something. They've really got to do something to amp up the power play. That's the big thing that they need to address at the deadline, in my opinion. Because, 5-on-5, it's great. We all know that. We all know that their blue line, it's great. Goaltending, it's great. Power play sucks. It does. They really need to do something to bolster that here within the next few days. A lot of us, again, thought it was going to be Timo Meier and Tarasenko. He was on that list. But, those guys are off the board now. So we're going to have to wait and see just what they decide to do. We're obviously going to keep talking about that as time goes on. But, man, Devils are dangerous, guys. And they could legitimately win the Metro. They legitimately could. And I think, one thing that hurt them is just kind of I know there are guys on that team that have playoff experience, like Dougie. But just as a whole, they don't have the playoff experience that a team like the Hurricanes have, or the Bruins, or the Lightning. They don't have that experience. So, but again, that don't mean nothing. Team gets hot at the right time, they go on a run. Like the Hurricanes back in 2019 to Eastern Conference Finals. Yeah, first time they made playoffs in 9-10 years, and yeah. So at the end of the day, that doesn't. It's a factor, but it's not the end all be all. And the Metro is dangerous right now, guys. It is. Devils and Rangers have made moves to get better, and they both could make pushes to win this division. And the Hurricanes need to do the same. They need to do something this week. We'll see what it is. Obviously, sentimental reasons. I saw today Eric Stahl wasn't on the ice for the Panthers. Bring him home. But, that's just sentimental reasons there. But I wouldn't complain. But it is something. The Hurricanes, they need to make they need to make a move. I've seen, a lot of things, them get like a middle six guy, seventh defenseman. Yeah, that depth wouldn't hurt, but they also look at all the teams around you. They're making splashes. The Hurricanes need to make a splash. Now, in order to get good, you're going to have to give up good. And, who is the one that the Hurricanes move on out? We've obviously seen Seth Jarvis circled around quite a bit. I don't think that's the case. I don't think he would get moved unless, the trade was right. And I saw Jesper Foss being a guy in some mock trades that I could legitimately see. But we won't know until we know. Obviously, nobody is off limits because, like we always say, if Wayne Gretzky can get traded, anybody can get traded. But we'll just have to wait and see what happens with the trade deadline, what the Hurricanes decide to do. And we'll talk about all that as time goes on. And hopefully we'll be talking about a trade that the Hurricanes do in tomorrow's episode. But we'll just have to wait and see. The Hurricanes, their next game is on Wednesday against the Vegas Golden Knights. They're out in Vegas. And then Friday against Arizona. We'll obviously talk about those games whenever they come. I'm looking forward to some Canes After Dark. I know you guys are as well. But I will talk to you in tomorrow's episode, folks. Make sure you are following the show on Twitter and Instagram at LO_Hurricanes and myself on Twitter at JaredEllis_96. And as always, let's go Canes.